Welcome, everybody, to another rendition of The Lone Wolf Show. You are watching www.witchcrafttv.online. And we have a special guest backstage. And this third degree priestess is out there in Washington, Georgia, if I'm correct. And she is making her path and making waves down there, building her community. And we're going to talk to her. And she has quite the following. And I believe that she really needs a lot more recognition. And we're going to get to know her right here in the next 45 minutes. So thanks for watching The Lone Wolf Show. Rhonda, how are you doing? Priestess
I'm
Rhonda, is that
doing,
okay?
that's fine. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. And, you know, I'm reaching out because I was on the socials and I feel like your story is very inspirational, where you were a truck driver. You did it as a career, which I thought, and you put away all your, I want to say your harvest is all sunk into what you want to do for spirituality in a Wiccan styled community. Now you're a Wiccan priestess, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And you've put all your eggs in the basket of building a community type situation where you're building a store right now and the likes. I know that you sent over some information about a Facebook group, and I saw that you were the admin there, but I also saw that you were the group expert. And I looked under the group experts in that community, and you were the only one. And the group is a pretty large group, and I think it has like 5,000 or 6,000 followers in the group itself. And is that group tied to your work in the craft specifically, or do you network with people in your immediate area?
No, that group is pretty much a public group. It is private in that you have to ask to join, but it is open to all like-minded individuals that want to come in, find a safe place, and just enjoy, have fun, learn, grow with everyone else.
And who started that group, and how long has it been out there?
I started that group, I want to say it was probably close to 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been out there a while.
And what was the name of the group 10 years ago? And does it still have the same name?
No, it's gone through quite a few changes, actually. I was born under the new moon, and I find the new moon to be refreshing as it's surrounded by new beginnings. And the motto and the store is actually New Moon Eclectics. And the motto behind everything new moon is there's beautiful darkness and new beginnings. So there's also a group, there's another group on there for just the academy, but the main Facebook group it's a combination of my students as well as everyone else that wants to come in and just learn and grow with us.
And the name of the group, you can find it on Facebook at New Moon Witches and Wiccans. Did I get it right?
You did.
Very cool. What was the original names of it again?
I think it was just Witches and Wiccans. Like I said, it's been through a few changes along the way, but it's been New Moon Witches and Wiccans for quite some time now.
And there's quite a few members in there, and I'm really fascinated with the amount of followers that you have that I've seen, because there's just so many people. Now, I researched online once, you know, how many pagans, witches, magic folks do we have worldwide? And what I was told when I researched this was there's 1.5 billion pagans and witches on this planet. So that's a pretty big number. So when it comes to like actual networking and people within a particular, you know, community, and there is a web of community in the craft world, I know particularly in the United States, and I haven't even like reached the tip of the iceberg overseas, but I'm trying to. There's just so many of us, and I just love meeting new people that are influential in their communities. And I think you're definitely one of those people. Can you tell me about your students, and how would somebody contact you to learn from you, and how does that work?
Okay, so they can contact me through the Facebook group, because I have some students in there as well, or they can go to www.newmooneclectics.com. That's where the academy is. And the academy has blogs, it has lessons that folks can take. There is a community for the members on there as well. If they wanted to interact with each other via the website, they could do that. And they can reach me either through Messenger or email through the contact form on the website.
So you said that is www.newmoonacademy.com?
New Moon Eclectics.
Okay.
It's eclectics, eclectics. New Moon Eclectics. Everything that I do is eclectic, so the website is that as well.
Eclectics is ECLETICS?
Close. ECLECTICS.
LECTICS. And that's .com.
Yes.
.com. Okay, I'm trying to put this up as a banner for you up here. And that's up on the screen, www.newmooneclectics.com, if you're interested in that particular community. And you're out there in the Georgia area in Washington. Is that North Washington, South Washington, in the middle? How is it geographically?
Washington is, if people are familiar with Augusta, it's probably about a half an hour from here to Augusta. So we're pretty close. Washington is pretty much like a southwest or southeast, depending on how you look at it geographically. But Washington is a small town, but not a small town. And this location, quick story, when I was researching, looking for a place to let New Moon have a home, I was actually researching other states, and just say West Virginia, for instance, and I had the West Virginia search. So this location actually came up in my West Virginia search, not even the same state. So I came here to check the place out and fell in love with it immediately. But so yeah, this is in Washington. If people come here, they'll notice that there's pretty much like a heart of Washington, the center of Washington, the town square. I'm literally about 2 miles from there. And the town has more churches than you can throw sticks at. So me having the store here is going to be a challenge. But I'm up for it. Since I've been here talking to people, I've gotten mixed reactions. So I think we're going to do fine.
Want to hear all about the store and all of the other things that you do in your community. But I would like to welcome Sarah Louise Nichols to Witchcraft TV with our wonderful guest, who put in the website there too in the comments. Thank you so much for doing that for us. So yeah, check it out, www.newmooneclectics.com, and also the Facebook group that you started 10 years ago, which is a decade. And yeah, that's quite a long time. That's quite a long time. And have you grown spiritually in that 10 years since you first started with the Facebook groups and everything? Like okay, I'll just ask it outright like this. How did you start your spirituality within the confines of contemporary witchcraft?
I began my path when I was in my teens. I had a very rough childhood, and I was always looking for an outlet. I was brought up in it was a mixed Christian Catholic family. Um, Things were just rough because I was the black sheep, never thought inside their box. Um, when I got to be in my teens, I had found the pagan path. And within that pagan path, found Wicca. And I actually started my journey full force in Arizona, literally at the Superstition Mountains. And I met some elders there who taught me and pretty much gave me the basics. And it just went from there. Being through teaching, having the website, having the Facebook group has opened my heart, mind, and soul even more so because I see the struggle that other people are going through. And it just humbles me as a high priestess even more so.
And when you have students, what's the very first thing that you always teach them or you try to direct them with? Because I know ultimately a lot of times students kind of forge their own path and kind of teach themselves. Well, I think it's best when they do that. But what's the lesson that you try to bestow to your students firstly?
First, I always tell them that this is their path, no one else's. They're the ones that are walking this path. And the great thing about witchcraft or any section of the pagan quote unquote religion, I hate calling it a religion, but about the pagan path is that it's pretty much you do what you feel you need to do. You feel, whatever your soul leads you to do, that's what you do. Don't listen to other people telling you that you can't do this and you can't do that because it's not theirs to live. It's yours. And that's usually the first thing that I tell them. They ask, well, what kind of witch am I? Am I this? Am I that? You start taking the steps and your intuition will guide you. You have to learn to listen to your intuition. Your intuition will guide you in which way you need to go.
Mm-hmm. I would like to welcome Household Magic and Shenanigans to the Witchcraft TV platform. And they have a question for you, which works out pretty good for me because that means I don't have to ask them. And the question is, what is the difference of witches and Wicca? Does Wicca have rules?
Okay, so Wiccans have what we call a Wiccan read. And that's our doctrine, kind of like the Christians have their 10 commandments. Wiccans have the Wiccan read that we have to go by. So we do have rules. There are some modern Wiccans that pick and choose which part of that read to follow, and that's totally on them. That's their path, that's their way. The difference between Wiccans and witches is there's a saying that all Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan. I hope that answers the question.
Definitely heard that. Do you think there's some Wiccans that don't follow a traditional Wiccan read? Because from what I understand, the Wiccan read, I believe, was actually written maybe in the 60s and 70s. So it's kind of a newer thing. But you have like the one excerpt, and it harm none is kind of like the backbone of the read, I believe. And I haven't had it memorized, short version and a long version and things. But I think that's a really good answer. But my question again was, do you feel like there's some Wiccans that don't follow the read?
Absolutely. There are, especially when it comes to, and you harm none, do what you will. There's a lot of them that have a problem with that. And the way I tell people to interpret it is you cannot intentionally hurt anyone, is pretty much what it's saying. If someone comes and slaps you in the face, no one not even the divine expects you to turn the other cheek and just walk away. So as long as you're not intentionally harming anyone, that's my interpretation of the Wiccan read, and that's what I put forward to people. But there are a lot of people out there, Wiccans, that, like I said, they pick and choose which parts of the Wiccan read that they want to follow.
Very, very, very interesting. And I think that goes right back to what you said, that this is your path to walk, and this is your discernment, this is your spirituality. And, all too much, I think we get into a lot of dogma and almost, and as the craft evolves, and that's exactly what's going on. Nothing sits stagnant. Everything is in a perpetual state of motion. And I think that the craft itself is evolving. I almost feel like maybe it's okay if you take from different places, but I almost feel like things like the Wiccan read has become dogmatic. And I'm not a professional. I'm not like the sharpest tool in the altar. I don't know.
I think he froze. Are you still with me? I think he might have froze. So in what he was saying about the dogma, I believe that there's a lot of people out there that are trying to be gatekeepers. Uh-oh. I think he totally went away. We're just, wait a minute. I'm not sure if you all can hear me. I guess we're still waiting. Not sure what happened. Let me see if I can bring them up in here. Bear with us, folks, if you're still there. Let me see. It's saying that we're still live on my end. And I think he's trying to come back in.
There we are. Can you hear me?
There you are. There he is.
Okay, I apologize about that. I connected to the hotel here in Kansas City, and for whatever reason, the internet connection is not so good. So I have it now on a hotspot. Interruption again.
Okay.
So I apologize. So yeah, we were just talking about the Wiccan read and things being dogmatic and things, and that's another thing that I've seen various covens around the country. One thing that a lot of them all recite in Ispits and Sabbats and things is something that Doreen Valiente wrote a long time ago called The Charge of the Goddess. And the Charge of the Goddess is one of those things where a lot of different covens are using in their ritual structure. And I'm almost contemplating, does that make it dogmatic?
I don't know if I'd say dogmatic. I was saying when you went away for a minute that there are a lot of gatekeepers that are popping up everywhere.
Mhm.
You know, that term gatekeepers. Um,
Right.
but I had a coven once, and the coven was in Arizona, in Apache Junction, Arizona, actually, and it was called the Proud Pagans of Apache Junction. We even actually adopted a
Mhm.
highway. But
Nice.
in my coven, everyone, I mean, even though I was the high priestess and there was a gentleman that would kind of serve as the high priest, no one was above anyone else. Everyone shared responsibilities. Everyone, you know, is if they could handle it, you know, if they were educated enough. Um, if not, that was fine. They were still part of the coven. Um, I see a lot of covens now that are very, what's the term I'm looking for? With the hierarchy.
Okay.
You know, I'm up here, you're down here. So, and I don't believe that that's how it should be. That's just me. But we're all on this earth as humans with the divine soul. And we all have a purpose here. And without someone allowing that soul to grow and keeping them down at that level, to me is just wrong. You know, putting it very plain and simple.
Mhm. I have heard that in some coven structures, the high priestess rules that circle, and the high priest kind of protects the circle. I have
Hmm.
heard that. I do like, and I do fancy a coven structure that everyone equal. You
Right.
know, male and females equal. You know, people who don't identify with gender at all are equal. They're there. Everything's love. And I was having a discussion with a very good friend of mine last night, actually, where when we go inside of a circle, they will say, "How do you enter the circle?" I enter the circle in perfect love and in perfect trust.
Right.
But then, in time and time again, you know, particularly in the witchcraft world, and I know this, you know, from experience working with so many different traditions and witches across the country, is that the perfect love and perfect trust thing kind of gets swept under the rug. You know? So it's
It
kind of
gets
like
lost.
it gets lost. So I'm sure at the end of the day, I think you're right, and I really believe in what you're saying. With it's a very personal spiritual experience, and it really is the job of the seeker to walk their own path and not be
Exactly.
swayed by any ways particular way of doing things. So I think an eclectic way is a good way, but I think a good foundation is also a good thing. Um, and it reminds me
Giving them
of
something solid to walk on is always a good
Mhm.
thing. You know, a good like stepping stone to begin their path with. I actually have one of my students here. She just came in.
Very cool.
But yeah, um, within a coven is supposed to be a family, not a. I don't even know what the term I'm looking for is, but there will be a high priest, high priestess that watches over things, but I don't believe in there being that kind of, you know, if you join my coven, you're part of the family, and I'm not going to
Mhm.
hold you down here. I just like my children, I want to see them do better than I did. And it's the same thing when people come into my family, just like the group on Facebook. I don't call it just my group, it's a family. You know, we're there to help each other, you know, grow. I've been doing this for decades and I still learn things. You know, there's not a soul on earth that can say they know everything. And I'll be the
Mhm.
first to admit that I don't know everything. Um, I do know a lot, but I don't know everything, and I still learn. And I hope that people that I come across and people that come across my path will exceed me.
Mhm. I really like the idea of your family, not your not they're not just friends. And that when you come into the circle, you become family. I really wish that the entire general pagan and witchcraft community could be the same way and be family, because there's a hell of a lot of infighting that happens within the craft from coast to coast here in America, and I'm sure worldwide. Um,
Hmm.
but even in a family structure, I mean, how many disagreements have you had with your older sister, your younger brother, or your second cousin? I mean, squabbles do happen, but at the end of the day, I think that's the important thing. We are family, and we
We
should be.
are. And that's how it used to be. You know, back in the day, whenever you joined a coven, or even if you were just amongst other like minded individuals, you were family. You were brother, you were sister. And that's how I try to keep my little world, you know, to where everyone is my brother, everyone is my sister. I love everyone. You know, I tell people I'm kind of like the hippie chick slash Woodstock kind of person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just that I think that's how it should be.
Hmm.
I mean,
And that,
yes, you're
and
going to have disagreements, but it's not something that's like continuous. It's not something that goes on, you know, forever. You know, you have a little disagreement and then you're like, okay, I'm sorry and I love you, and you move on.
I would like to welcome Christine to the Witchcraft TV platform, joining us from our YouTube. And she says, when you enter a circle, there should be no hierarchy, as your ritual loses its true meaning and spirituality. I belong to a coven, and we are a family that continues to grow together. I agree. I
It's
agree, Christine.
absolutely, absolutely. I love that.
I
It's
agree.
it's wonderful to hear that there are others out there that have the same thinking.
So tell me, Priestess, do you have a particular? Now you told me that your path is very eclectic. Do
Hmm.
you do you have a particular patron god and goddess that you work with time and time again, or has that changed throughout the years?
It has changed throughout the years, but I always Hecate is my go-to for most things. If I have a direct need, a particular, like whether it be animal or nature related or something to that effect, then I'll seek out another, you know, someone else. But 99.9% of the time, she's the one I go to.
Definitely loving that Greek vibe. I'm part Greek myself. I walk with Hermes. That's great. That's really cool to see. Yeah, if any of our viewers have any questions for either myself included or Rhonda, we're happy to have a great discussion. And if you have
Absolutely.
questions, please put them right in the comments there. I'm going to take us to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back on the Lone Wolf Show. So don't go nowhere, and join us for continued conversation.
Do y'all know about Witchcraft TV online? Been watching that the last couple days. Constantly going. I'm learning interesting stuff. And it turns out, apparently, I have a show there at midnight every night at Witchcraft TV online. Witchcraft TV.online. Check that out. I'm going to tune in at midnight and see what it is I'm doing there. Do y'all know about...
Step into the circle and tune your spirit to a brand new series right here on Witchcraft TV, Altar of the Moon, hosted by the graceful Gabriella, known in the magical world as Laughing Brook, with a master's degree in education and decades of spell crafting and soul searching, Gabriella takes it to a teaching to a sacred height. Each episode shall rip apart the rusted remnants of outdated beliefs, offering fresh frameworks and radiant possibilities for witches ready to forge their own way. She doesn't just instruct, she liberates, igniting your journey with insight and reverence, then stepping back to marvel at the beauty of how you choose to witch. Her slant, smashing the chains that were never ours to begin with. Ready to rebuild your magical worldview from scratch and make it stick with spellbinding power. Altar of the Moon, where teaching becomes transformation and watching becomes awakening. Coming soon to Witchcraft TV. Stay enchanted. Step into the circle and tune your spirit to a brand new series right here on Witchcraft TV, Altar of the Moon, hosted by the graceful Gabriella, known in the magical world as Laughing Brook, with a master's degree in education and decades of spell crafting and soul searching. Gabriella takes it to a teaching to a sacred height. Each episode shall rip apart the rusted remnants of outdated beliefs, offering fresh frameworks and radiant possibilities for witches ready to forge their own way. She doesn't just instruct, she liberates, igniting your journey with insight and reverence, then stepping back to marvel at the beauty of how you choose to witch. Her slant, smashing the chains that were never ours to begin with. Ready to rebuild your magical worldview from scratch and make it stick with spellbinding power. Altar of the Moon, where teaching becomes transformation and watching becomes awakening. Coming soon to Witchcraft TV. Stay enchanted. Step into the circle and tune your spirit to a... All right, we're back. Sorry about the interruption. I'm having a little bit of a tech problem. Somebody says something about Mercury in retrograde, and that seems to always be the case. Every time we have tech gremlins, it's always Mercury in retrograde. And I swear we're in Mercury in retrograde 365 days a year, 7 days a week.
It seems that way.
It
I
definitely
think
does.
the sunbursts don't help.
I have been feeling that, and there is quite a lot of smog throughout the United States. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with that. Probably not. But yeah, as we do have a good connection, I want to hear more about your shop that you're going to be opening up, and are there other shops in the area? And also, is there a coven existing where you're at now too, associated with the shop? Because a lot of times you'll have a shop and then you'll have like a coven to the side, and a lot of seekers will go into a shop and say, hey, I like to learn things, and they're just kind of like, nah, we don't do that. But lo and behold, the next full moon, they're out there, what nobody knows about. So is that the case, or is that not the case, or how is that going on for you over there in Georgia?
Okay, so this location is going to be just like everything else, very eclectic. It is going to have, I'm going to need to plug up. Excuse me, just 1 second.
That's okay. Not a problem.
I bought this fancy doodad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all for watching The Lone Wolf Show with our special guest, a third-degree priestess from Washington, Georgia, who's about to open up a brand new shop in a brand new community. Well, it's a community in progress, really. She's dedicated her life since a teenager to the craft, and now she is out there adamantly helping her community down there in Georgia. So yeah, tell me more about your shop, the involvement in your family there, and what it's going to look like. And you said the target date to start the shop is going to be Samhain 2025. What kind of items
I'm
do you have in your
hoping.
shop? You're hoping.
Okay, so in the store itself, it's going to be, I don't want to say typical, like when you go to a witchy shop, quote unquote witchy. It's going to have everything from crystals to smudges to incense to decor. Um, it's just going to have like statuettes. I have like altar boxes, and I do make intention necklaces and stuff on my own, and that stuff will be here as well. But it's going to have a lot of stuff in it. That's the store side, and then it's also going to have a kitchenette where people can come in and make their own coffees or specialty teas. I'm going to have fresh herbs in here for people that want to make their own herbal tea. And then right on the other side of the kitchenette is going to be the library / internet room. So that's just the main store part itself. I have a bird sanctuary in the back. There's a creek that runs through the back here where people can go sit outside. I will have sitting areas out there for people. It's 1.5 acres, this property. So there's going to be places for folks to sit outside if they want to just sit and read one of the books or just enjoy nature, sit there and watch the birds. There's a ton of birds out there now. I've been feeding them, so they're happy. There's a pine wooded section on the side where eventually I'm going to have other vendors come in to sell their wares. There's a small vineyard here, a muscadine vineyard, that right now is producing like no other. There's also going to be an herb garden. Eventually I want to start doing like witchy classes, like on how to make your own broom, that type of thing. Yeah, so it's going to be a lot going on here. Community involvement. I'm going to ease my way into the community. I don't want to go in like a bull in a china shop and scare everybody and say, okay, the witches of Washington are here, look out. So we're going to go into that little by little. I was hoping to get like by Samhain, this whole thing settled and have an event in town, like in the center of town, have like a trunk or treat and then have dancing witches out there. But I don't know if that's going to happen this year. We'll see. But yeah, I plan on making this like an all-in-one stop. You know, people can come and relax here. They can learn here. They can shop here. Eventually, I would like to open a, start a coven here, a family. So that's the goal. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but I'll get it done.
Always is. I've seen many pagan communities flourish, and I've seen established ones and ones that are growing, and helped build a few myself. Question in the chat room, Christine, thank you so much again for watching Witchcraft TV in the Lone Wolf Show. For our guest, Rhonda, how do you stay magical? Sometimes we as magical beings get into a rut and feel like we can't do magic.
So I try to do something every single day to keep my energy flowing, whether it's stirring my coffee in the morning or when I take a shower and I release through the shower any tension that I might have that might try to hold me back through the day. Having my Facebook group helps. My students help me out a lot when it comes to staying in the magical realm. But even sometimes if I feel myself getting into a rut, and it's funny she asked that because I made a post today about circumstances and how we tend to get stuck in our circumstances. The universe responds to our vibrations. So I always try to stay at least in a somewhat medium to high vibe, because that's what I want in return. Whenever you feel yourself getting stuck in a rut, just stop and take a breath, ground yourself, and get yourself centered. And then just remember who the heck you are. You're not just a normal human being. You are a magical being. You know, you were here, you were put on this earth for a reason, and circumstances should not hold us back.
Thank you so much for that answer. And I would love to add to that also, saying that magic to me, and like we were talking earlier, you know, the interpretation of what it is to be walking the path is for the individual, not for, you know, listening to other people. But for me, magic isn't something that I do. Magic is more of something that I am.
Exactly. Exactly. You are excuse the toy. We are children of the divine. And I am a firm believer, and there's a lot of people that will say I'm wrong, but I believe that we were all born powerful beings. And in the way I think, being brought up in society and some in the families that we were brought up in lose that along the way. And it's our job to find it down the road. Sorry, my husky's like, she's wanting to play. But I lost my train of thought with that one. Thank you, Kaya. But I believe that we all within us have power that we're not even aware of. We all have magic within us that's there on a daily basis. We just need to wake it up.
I like it. I like it. Very inspirational. So I hadn't planned on this, but you did say that you had one of your students was there, somebody from your family.
Yes.
Is there any chance that we can introduce them and meet them on Witchcraft TV?
She's coming.
Very cool. Very cool. Surprise guest. I would love to meet them.
I can get.
Her name is Martha.
Martha, nice to meet you, Martha. I am the Lone Wolf. This is the Lone Wolf Show. We are Witchcraft TV, an online-based television for all witches, all pagans, and all magic folks. It's very nice to meet you. How long have you been family with Rhonda?
I'm trying to think. 2020 is when we met, and we really started to connect, and then it just kind of grew from, just occasional friends to a permanent friendship and almost like a mother-daughter thing.
Mm-hmm. So, Rhonda, your store that's being built there for the trajectory of Samhain, is she like helping you do all this? Are you partners? Is she going to be at the store? Like, she going to be like there in the cut reading tarot cards when this all gets established? Like, how is this working?
She is a very important part of me getting she's my backbone. Mm-hmm. When I start having a down moment, which I actually had one yesterday, I think it was, they're my cheerleading squad. Her and her husband are my cheerleading squad. I'm not just her quote unquote adopted mama. I'm her mentor, but she's my everything. I do have my real children, but this is my baby girl right here. She will be a part of the store once we get it open. She will be part of the events once we start doing events. So she's still learning, but she has come a long way since I first took her under my wing.
Mm-hmm. And I have one more question for her. I want to ask her, what is, you think, the most inspirational, meaningful teaching that you've learned from Rhonda down there in Georgia?
It's keep your head up, stay grounded, and remember who you are. I mean, we all get into little ruts to where we don't know which way to go. But she has definitely helped me stay centered. Kaya. Lord have mercy.
The store mascot over here. I'm sorry, folks, but I have a Siberian Husky. And if anyone knows anything about Huskies, she can be very pushy. Let me see if I can get her to introduce. Come here, Kai.
Yeah, in most pagan households, in witchy households, the animals are part of the family, our family. Say, oh, look at that. Beautiful.
That's my girl. She does what she wants when she wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's definitely part of the family.
Well, Rhonda, it's been very, very nice to have you on the Lone Wolf Show on the Witchcraft TV platform and network. If anyone's interested or in the Georgia, Washington area and you're looking for witchy folks, go ahead and hit them up at www.newmooneclectics.com. It looks like there's a lot of growth that's happening over there. And I think it's just a beautiful thing. And it was nice meeting you both. And also your whole entire family. And I do wish nothing but the best for you. Do you have any words of wisdom to new seekers or old seekers of encouragement on the path of the wise?
As I've said before, well, for one, never give up. Don't ever give up. If this is the path that you're seeking, and you really truly feel in your mind, your heart, and your soul that this is what you want to do, the path that you want to go down, it's your feet that are on that path, no one else's. And don't ever give up on your dream. There are so many wonderful things that can happen if you just stay true to yourself.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for watching www.witchcrafttv.online, where we are fair representation of all pagan, witch, and
Witchcraft TV t-shirts are now available.
Wow.
Witchy Kids Network tees right here on our website. Order yours today and support the hottest online witchcraft television station on the planet. Your very own Witchcraft TV teddy bear to cuddle while watching your favorite Witchcraft TV show. Try our Witchcraft TV multivitamins for good health. Never miss your favorite Witchcraft TV show with our official wall clock. Drape yourself with Witchcraft TV pride with our jewelry. With our official coffee mug, you can sip in style and watch your favorite shows. These collectibles are available now, right here on our website under Witchcraft TV merchandise. Witchcraft TV t-shirts are now available.
Wow.
Witchy